So we're just finishing up some trunks here. Let's see what we got. Boom. We got to do the elastic band, stitch it down, and then stitch down the legs. So that's what we're going to work on right here, right quick. And we got to put our brand tag in. So one of the first things I want to do, I need to put my reinforcement square here, rectangle here, for my drawstring that I like to put in. This is the way I do mine. You can do buttonholes too if you want, I guess, and that would work too. This is just how I like to do mine. I make a little box, and then I set my stitch width to like a 3, and the length to a 1, which should be millimeters. And then I just stitch a box. Box, rectangle, I like to do kind of a fine stitch on it, almost like a satin stitch, but not that fine. I've seen some guys do buttonholes, some guys just punch holes. I don't like to do that because then stuff rips. Does it take a second to do this? Yeah, but I think it looks a lot better and it holds up good. Everybody's got their own little trademark things. This just works for me. It's something I like. Get a little backstitch. I'm using white thread on this because there's white all through the logo and throughout the tights, throughout the trunks. So there we go. We have a little box, and then I take my hole punch here, which this is my gigantic hole punch. I need to get a new hole punch. I want a different one, but this one works good. I use this for masks and gauntlets and stuff a lot because it's good to go through the leather, and it's got a ruler on it. I bought this thing from Michael's like years ago. It's worked really good. I might need to go get my lighter. Yeah, I need to get my lighter. Hold on. Note to self: always have your tools ready. I like to burn the edges of these, so it opens the hole up more and keeps it from fraying out and stuff too. This material doesn't fray as far as the spandex really, so no worries there, but that and burn our thread ends. There we go. So put our tools off to the side. So now we got that. Now we can do our waistband. This one is most of my waistbands when I do the stitching around them are 5 millimeters wide, a 5 stitch width, and about a 2.5 length. That usually works pretty good. So, and then I start on the edge when I'm doing these, the edge of the hip. You can do them with the free arm, you can do them flat. There's a couple ways you can do these. This is just the easiest way that I've found. When I had my tabletop machine, big industrial tabletop machine, it didn't have this free arm, so I had to do it a little bit different, but both ways work fine. You'll see the white thread in the logo too, a little bit of a contrast in the logo, or not contrast, it matches up good with the logo. So this might, I try to keep my logos under the waistband, but this might tip it a little bit because this logo is different from this guy's normal logo, so I had to bring it up a little higher, but it's not going to make much of a difference. Back stitch. Yes, I could bring this over. trying to avoid stitching over the logo because I don't like that. It's white thread over it, so it's not going to make a huge difference. And then we don't want to forget our tag. So put our tag up in here. Open that. Almost went a little too far. There we go. I need to make more tags, so I think that'll be something else that I do in a video soon. The way I make my tags. I'm working on, and have somebody working on a new logo also, so looking forward to that. Yeah, it's gonna switch over. I just use a zigzag stitch on my waistbands and stuff. You can use a stretch stitch also, which is like if you're on your sewing machine and look, it looks like a zigzag stitch, but it's got the broken lines, and it's kind of a combination of a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. That works really good too. I just like the way this looks better, and I do mine kind of narrow anyway. So that, and if I have to take a stitch out, but stretch stitch is a little harder to take out than this one, so I prefer it. These should look good when they're done. He's going to wear these on TV, so this is going to be interesting because it's vertical, like pinstripe stripes, and it's blue and white, so it looks absolutely obnoxious. Especially with the logo that's on it, but that is what they wanted, so. It's not that it looks bad at all, it looks fine. It's just highly, highly, highly obnoxious, but it fits. Now when you get to these kind of bulky seams, just slow down a bit. I backstitch mine too. There you go. And then I like to do a channel or like safety stitch up here too, which keeps everything from rolling around too much, and it gives the drawstring a channel to go through so it doesn't flip up over the waistband and get all lost up in there. And I think it looks better. Looks good. Keeps your waistband from flipping over on you too much and rolling. Depending on your build, it helps. It keeps the elastic in place better too. So. Trying to keep that straight, put a little bit of a wave to it. Again, when we get to our bulky seam here, just slow down. Try to go over those bulky seams too quick. You get a skip stitch and stuff in that. You don't want that. Well, I should be picking these up today. Today or tomorrow. I'm using for the weekend. His stuff's pretty. I've made his stuff a lot, so. Backstitch that. I like putting them on the hips like that too, where this is at. It kind of hides the back stitching a bit. Snip that. Get rid of our loose threads. Michael. Get rid of our loose threads there. I could have lined that up a little better, I guess, but it looks good. Stitched over my thread. that thread in there. Stitch over top of my tail here, which it's tucked up under there. It's no big deal, but I don't like that. Let's cut that tail off and score it down, sear it down there. Yeah. So now we got our channel all through there. The white stitching I think looks good. It's supposed to have kind of a varsity look to it. So we got that. And we'll do the same for the leg holes. I got a 1/2 inch elastic in here. I like to use that for the leg holes. Some people use the thinner 1/4 inch elastic. I don't like that. I don't feel like it holds up as good. I don't feel like you get as much security with it. So pull our tails off to the side. And you can use a stretch stitch on this, or like I said, I like to just use a traditional zigzag stitch. It's good for athletic wear. I think it holds up really good, and I think it looks good. So stretch stitch is clean. I'll do another pair, just a for sale pair or a stock pair, and I'll do that stretch stitch on another video and show you guys. Gotta change my threading on my Serger too. My one spool's about it. I know after these are done, next thing on the agenda is to clean my machines. So I've been switching to a better thread too, especially for my bobbin, so that's really helped with keeping the machine cleaner and running better. Use a better, higher quality thread. One leg hole done. When you're burning your tail ends, try not to burn into your thread. Now we got this leg hole done, nice and stretchy. There we go. We'll do the next one. This machine's not super fast. I don't know what the stitch count per minute is on this one, but it's not extremely fast compared to some other machines, but it does a really good job. I want to say it's like 1,100 stitches a minute or something like that. When I'm grabbing this back here in the back, I'm not pulling it. I'm letting the machine take it through. I'm just keeping it kind of taut and in place so it goes through straight the way I want it to. I've had somebody ask me that before, if I'm pulling it through the machine on this. No. There will be some materials, like I'll give it a little assistance, but I'm just trying to keep everything nice and kind of taut straight that way, guiding it through. And I use my forearm to pull this down a bit, so everything is flat. Some of them will stretch materials. Everything, when you start putting elastic in, stuff bunches up, and it can be a pain to keep everything flat. So. Back stitch. You can pull your tails through too and tie them off. I normally don't. I haven't had any problems with stuff coming undone or anything like that, because I backstitch mine really good, and I try to hide the backstitching as much as possible. Most people don't notice it, but kind of like that, it's hard to see, and with where it's placed on the hip and stuff like that, you're not really gonna, it doesn't stand out. So we have our tag in here, care tag, brain tag, and then here's our logo on the back, and you can see what I was talking about. This logo sits up a little higher, so I did stitch over it some, but the white blends in, so you really don't see it. The gold overshines it. So, but this logo is longer, so I didn't want the bottoms of the polo mallets all up underneath down here. So with the logo placement, I had to bring it up a little bit higher. I could have made the logo a little smaller, I guess, but I didn't want to do that. And then the logo we did is it's a shattered glass gold with a Sport HTV vinyl on top of it. So I cut this all out with my Cricut, and then heat pressed the vinyl to it, and then used some spray or heat and bond to make sure everything was clean as far as the lines. Heat and bonded that to the fabric. Then I put my liner to it with some spray and bond, cut it all out. And then when I stitched it, I didn't have to stitch this down really the way it is. I just had to do the edges, but it's supposed to have a varsity look, so I wanted that kind of Letterman's stitched down look to it. And it does make it a little more secure, so I stitched it all down. Depending on the vinyl you use though, be careful stitching vinyl, because if it stretches too much or pulls, it will pull at the vinyl and rip it. This is Caesar Eco Stretch vinyl. I've never had any problems with it. And then I use Stahl's Premium Plus vinyl a lot of times too. The Stahl's is a little thicker than the Caesar, but for this it works really well. And you can see where it presses into the fabric. You can see the grain of the fabric and everything. So this is not coming off, and it should hold up really good. So this had more of a shiny white to it also for what I was going for. The Stahl's is a little bit more matte, so worked out pretty nice. And then you can see we're going to put our drawstring in here. Got everything done up. That is our project for the day. He's got matching knee pad covers too. That was our project for the morning. So thank you for this so long. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, do all that social media jazz. But yeah, back to work.